It was a question that somebody asked me. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Some people aren't going to like it. Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. I'm going to make some people angry today. I have a feeling I'm going to make some people angry. I'm going to tell you my prediction. By the way, we're getting a bunch of live shows ready to go. I'm going to give you my prediction for what I think the absolute best, I have no doubt, absolute best reselling site 1 year from today. And a lot of people aren't going to like what I have to say, but I hope by the end of this video that you'll agree with me, and I think a lot of people will. So for those of you who are new to the show, this is primarily a what sold show, what sold on whatever platform, primarily eBay. We're going to talk about that today. We've got tons of sales, but we are going to weave this topic through. And I want to get your opinions on it as we talk about it. Like I said, the girls are out there working. Bub's girlfriend is in between graduating from college and getting a job. So she's been helping us out a little bit more than usual, but they are in charge of all the live shows, and that's on Whatnot or on districtdipdit.com. And they've been working on those, which gives me so much more time to focus on this. And it's finally paying off after a terrible month of May. I don't know, it wasn't terrible. It was down about 20%, but May is usually my worst month. Sales have blown up because I've been able to dedicate that time. I'm not going to ship out 41 things today, which is what I could be doing, but I don't have to. Most of them can go out tomorrow. We're going to do maybe 15, 18, 20 today, but I have 41 sales for just over $3,998. So June has started off really, really well for us so far. I'm excited about that, but I want to get to this topic. It was a question that somebody asked me. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Some people aren't going to like it. And you know, if you watch my show, that's perfectly fine. I'm all about other people's opinions and other people's models and what they want to do and really to resell the way that makes them happy. So this was my absolute favorite find. Not my most profitable, but my favorite find from the 100 mile yard sale here in Virginia. It is a Yeti from G.I. Joe. And it was in really bad shape, and we cleaned it up. And I think I paid $2, something like that for it. It sold for how much does this one sell for? $46 plus shipping. I'm sad to see it go. And we have an eclectic group, to say the least, of sales today. But, you know, when we talk about a topic like this, we're going to talk about all kinds of reselling platforms throughout this video. Here's what I mean by eclectic. Here is I got these for free, y'all. And there was a bunch of stuff in a bin that they were just giving away at a yard sale. And I took them. I took all of them. I got crucified in the Commonwealth picker video. They're like, oh, it's free and whatever. I think I paid her something. I don't know what. I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't pay her anything. I bought other stuff. So these Joyce Meyer CDs or DVD, I don't even know what they are. They sold for $30 plus shipping, zero buy cost. And that kind of reminds me of something. Since we're talking about a topic that might have all kinds of different opinions today, there was dispute in that video whether or not I should have taken them for free, knowing I could resell them even though they were in the free box. But then there was also people, you know, you talk about things like we're talking about today, there's controversy. You talk about politics, there's controversy. You talk about religion, there's controversy. And so some people were not very happy that I was selling those things at all because apparently they don't like that person. And boy, you know, that's not what this channel is really about. We tend to agree to disagree on this channel. There are some things I'm passionate about and I voice my opinion on. I'm going to voice my opinion today. But at the root of all of this, you really have to do not only what works for you, but what makes you smile. And one thing that makes me smile is selling old audio stuff. And this one was cool. I saw it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get this thing. And it is an old boom box right here. This thing is sweet. But it had an issue, and the guy wanted $40 for it. And if it was working perfectly, I would have paid him $40 for it, but it wasn't. And so I almost just totally left it there. Looks like I have a visitor. What are you doing? You want to go to the shed? I need to hold this thing on my shoulder like they used to do in the old days. But see, this one, the guy told me, I wanted $40, and he told me that the cassette player didn't work. I'm like, well, I don't really want to pay $40. I offered him 20, and we hemmed and hawed a little bit, and we got a deal done. And this one sold for $80 plus shipping, and that doesn't work. So I sold it as is. The flies have followed me in today, unfortunately. Hopefully the flies flying around in here. There's 2 of them. I got to get them out. But I like the door open. So we're going to talk about other, obviously I've already talked about live selling sites, whatnot, and I sell over there, and we're selling increasingly more and more as it grows on dibdit.com as well. And it's just a separate, I view it as a separate business for me, because this is my true love, selling things statically on different sites. And the girls handle that, and I make a portion of that money, and I do very little of the work except for sourcing and running the show itself. And I just chose not to ignore the fact that that is something that people are gravitating towards. And, I'm not very dogmatic about my reselling. I know what I want to do and what I love to do, but I'm not going to blind myself to certain trends. At the same time, that doesn't mean people need to, rush over and try every single new thing, especially if it doesn't fit their own personality. Looks like we've got another guest in here. So here's another sale. This is a Furby sale, and the ear thing is not attached. And it's still sold for $26.95 plus shipping for that one. So I love selling Furbies. The market's a little bit down compared to what it was a little while ago, but they're still selling pretty good. $26.95, I think, for that one, plus shipping. I know a lot of you are probably expecting me to say something silly like Bonanza, because I love to sell on Bonanza because there's no extra work whatsoever. It's automatically cross-posted, delisted, all that. And we make a few sales a month over there. But of course not. That's not going to be it. I sell on Mercari as well. It's not going to be Mercari. And I really think that Mercari is slowly growing, but I don't see it being this massive juggernaut that ever takes over eBay or anything like that. Let me say one other thing. Actually, let me pull an item, and I'm going to say one other caveat before we get to it. All right, I had to go in and get this one as well. If you've been watching the show a long time, you may remember that I got this from Uncle Mark's garage sale. And I knew when I bought it, I'd make money on them. And he did too, but I also knew that I'd be holding on to them for a long time. And it's been a long time. This is, what do they call them? And keywords are important. Skyscraper, or what do they call them? Wedding cake. They're glass, all glass, so I'm a little afraid of this one. I'm being gentle with it. It's very Art Deco-y, if you noticed. It almost reminds me of a Thunderbird, but it's not. It's very Art Deco-y, and it would be upside down in a church, covering the lights or whatever. And this thing is awesome. And I sold 2 of them before, and this is finally the last one. I had it listed for $399, and I sold it for $300 plus shipping. It's not going too far away, so it won't cost me too much to ship it, but it will be bubble wrapped like crazy, paper, a box, and then another box that's padded as well, because I'm not losing that investment. The other caveat is pretty obvious to most, but Amazon. Amazon is already the biggest reselling site in the world. It will remain that way. I can't imagine it changing. And that's not what I'm talking about. We're putting that aside because it's not the type of reselling that I typically talk about. It's also not the kind of reselling that I enjoy. But yes, for you Amazoners out there, if you want to make that argument, I totally agree with you 100%. It's just not what we do here. And some of you may even expect me to say something like my own district platform with Dave and Carrie, dibdit.com, and or maybe the district marketplace as well. That's not what I'm going to say. Although I do love that platform, there are so many things over there that I just absolutely love about it, and we are seeing growth. But it is not, a year from now, going to be the best place for most people to resell. I do think there is a possibility. I pulled these out earlier. Don't think that they were at the top. That it is going to be a place for a lot of people to resell, and some people to resell at a very high level. That's how much I believe in that site over there. So we shall see. There are some steps that need to be taken, and it looks like they are. So I sold this Dale Jr. shirt. Sometimes, NASCAR stuff, especially Junior, don't sell really great by themselves. Not really worth the time for some small shirts, but I put these 2 together because they were the same size and they were both Dale Jr., and they sold. And they sold for $22.99 plus shipping together. So that was a lot better than struggling to get a sale for, $11 a piece or $12 a piece, in my opinion. And somebody got 2 shirts for not for the price of one, but save money on shipping, for instance. And so that's a good thing. So Whatnot is, of course, the other one that some folks are thinking. And Whatnot already, for some people, is already the best reselling site for them to sell on. For some people who have tried it and struggled, it's not even worth their time. And then there's a lot of people in between. It is certainly growing in market share. It is a, not a new thing anymore, but it is a new idea and reselling that has taken off. But I don't believe that's going to be the best place for most people to resell a year from now either, but it is for some. Y'all, I wanted to give a thank you to Joy, who bought plans for the Commonwealth Picker shipping table over on CommonwealthPicker.com, but the flies were down here. I was going to show you. When the wind blows south around here, the flies come this way because there's a dairy farm up the road. Your sleepy boy. Poncho's brother, Wallen, is at the vet. Blue Ridge Mama's with him. Reagan's at practice. Turner's bouncing a tennis ball outside. And Sophie's upstairs sleeping. And who knows where the cats are. So you might think, well, what's left, right? And there's two things. Of course, there's Poshmark, there's Depop, there's other sites like Grail, there's Facebook Marketplace, there's the flea market, for goodness sake. Or even possibly for some folks, an antique booth or something like that. But of course, none of those are going to be the best place for most people to resell. But I want to discount those things. I've heard a lot of comments lately about the demise of eBay, and I've made comments of it, but I've never said it's imminent. I've said things like someday in the future there will be a site that will outpace it. And I think that that's true. I think history shows us that that's true. There's always something new that eventually takes what was old and puts it, look at Sears and Toys R Us and all that stuff. Or even like Blockbuster for that matter. Had to head back into the eBay cave again, and I dug this one out right here, a Toshiba DVD VCR combo. And here's a perfect example. Like I said, we weren't talking about Amazon. That's not in the discussion, but anytime you can drop ship something from one side to another as successfully as people do DVD VCR combos, it ought to tell you the power of one side over the other, and Amazon is king, of course, but I hate it. That's an understatement. No offense to the people who sell over there. I get it, 100%. This one right here sold to a repeat buyer, but not a viewer, and this one sold for $100 plus shipping. The reason I know it's not a viewer is because of who bought it. This person's bought from me many times, actually, in order to drop ship this, more than likely, on Amazon to somebody else and make a cut. So, hey, I don't care. It's one good thing about definitely testing every single DVD, VCR combo, VCRs, all that stuff. Because if you can prove yourself a dependable person shipping out good stuff, then those drop shippers hit you up. And it happens all the time. We list these things and they sell. I got all but one of the flies out of here. So I shut the door. I'll take one. There he is right there. Sold some VHS and actually bought these off of DibDib, believe it or not, on a live auction over there. Along with a ton of other stuff. So I could either sell it later or keep it for my 80s cave or whatever. But these I decided to put on eBay. I think we listed them for 15 bucks. They're not sealed or anything like that. And these will go in lots. Really not worth the time to sell them individually, but those sold right there. Sold for 15 bucks plus shipping. I've also done videos before where I said the future of reselling is probably in cross-listing, and I think that that's probably still the case, and more people do it all the time, but that's not the answer to this question either. Sold a camera, and I usually don't like to sell cameras that are lower than $30. This is a Vivitar low-end camera. And the reason I don't, well, there's multiple. One is that, after the time you buy the thing, you test the thing. There's a failure rate on some of the testing. It's a Vivitar Easy Motor. I don't know what it is. And then there's a slightly higher than normal return rate on cameras. It just isn't really worth it. And this one I bought because the guy's like $1 a camera. I just scooped up a ton of cameras because it was a no-brainer. And it did sell. It only sold for $19.95 plus shipping. And we did test it, make sure it's working and all that. But I don't know. You tell me, what would you pick up a camera for? I try not to if it's lower than 30 bucks plus shipping. Some of you may remember a video I did, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks ago or so, where I was kicked off of the eBay Partner Network, which is their affiliate program. I didn't make a huge big deal of it. I didn't respond to an email in time, but boy, there are so many people out there that are fed up with eBay and disgusted by it and all this stuff. And they say, I'm going to quit, or I did quit, or I whatever. And maybe all that's true. I don't know. But that video had a bunch of comments, and people jump at the opportunity to slam eBay. And I'm critical of eBay from time to time as well. But I try to look at the whole picture. And here's one comment right here. It said, eBay is toast. You're one of, I don't agree with this, but you're one of the nicest, I agree with this part. You're one of the nicest, most reasonable sellers on their platform. This just shows what kind of company they are. It's time for me to delete eBay. There are other platforms now, and that is true. There's no doubt. There's choices, and I always advocate for choices. And that's why I don't ever just tear down these other places because somebody doesn't think it's the best thing for them. You know, it might be the best thing for somebody else. So, but my point here, by the way, I tell my wife, whenever I get a nice comment about me, I screenshot it and I send it to her. And whenever there's a negative comment about me, she screenshots it and sends it to me. It's kind of a fun little game we play. I'm trying to convince her I'm a nice guy. Any rate, back to the topic. So, some of you have already sniffed this out. For me, not just for me, I think for the majority of resellers who sell like we do, right? Garage sellers, thrifters, you know, sourcing different ways, but not massive scale, not Amazon type stuff. And not that you have to massively scale to do Amazon, you don't. But for most regular resellers, I guess, full-time, part-time, you know, retired, whatever it is, hobby, the best place to sell a year from now is the best place to sell right now. It's eBay. It's eBay, and it's probably going to remain eBay for quite some time. Having said that, they're losing, in my opinion here, well, not even in my opinion, they're slowly losing market share. And they're still growing, but they're slowly losing market share. So to just put the blinders onto these other opportunities, I think is a mistake. At least a mistake for younger folks, at least, you know. I mean, obviously, if you just retired or something and you want something to do in your part, you know, and you're just going to sell on eBay, that's fine. You don't need to deal with some of these other things and live selling and all that. Totally get that 100%. But if you're looking into the future thinking, hey, I want to ramp this up or I want to continue to do this forever, then looking into other things, other platforms, other, you know, whether it's cross-listing, whatever it is, I think those are things that even if you're not ready to do them now, you shouldn't just dismiss them forever. I guess I never said anything about Poshmark too much either. And no, I don't think Poshmark's going to overtake eBay for the now. I will say that there are a lot of people that the best place for them to sell, especially if you're a clothing seller, is Poshmark right now for some folks. But not for me. I don't even sell over there. I used to occasionally, and now, right now, in this point where we're doing so many different things, I've chosen not to. And I still sell clothes, but this is Tupperware, y'all. How exciting. I love Tupperware. But you got to find it cheap, and you got to find the right stuff that sells. This little stack sold for $30 plus shipping. Sold a vintage single stitch Bulls. Look at that, it still has the logo on it. Shirt. Unfortunately, this was a kid size, and so it would have sold for a lot more, but it still sold for $28.65 plus shipping. So tell me what you think about what I said in the comments. Tell me what you think the answer is a year from now. What will be the best place to resell? I will say this though, there is a space for a reselling site that, because obviously you have to have buyers. There's no doubt about it. And so for eBay to always side with the buyers and all the stuff you hear, I get some of that. What really gets me is in the obvious cases. You don't always see that support, but so I think that there's a space. This is one of the reasons I'm over on District. It's because I've been given control over my marketplace with Dave and Carrie in order to try to do those kind of things. But you know, it is, like I said, it is growing. It's slower growth, but I wasn't going to turn down the opportunity to have a possible role in shaping something, and so I'm excited about it. But at the same time, it's still not going to be the #1 place to resell. But if you can find these other places, you know, I talked about losing eBay Partner Network. Well, I was about a year ago at this time, I was scared to death I was going to lose my eBay and couldn't get any information out of them. And so to ignore, you know, the other things that are out there as possibilities was a mistake for me. But at the same time, to completely dismiss where most of the money is coming from would have been a mistake as well. So tell me down below in the comments what you think. If you've seen me on the Commonwealth Picker channel, the picking channel over there, you know I don't. This isn't it. I thought it was on top. Let me find it. You know, I'm not a fan of paying up for clothing, but man, I'll pay up for clothing if it's still in the package. It's Cabela's. Oh, like, yeah, absolutely. And I think I paid $5, which is not much for this. And that's not really even paying up for something like this. Sold for $30 plus shipping fairly quickly. I'm just noticing here in these sales, there's no obvious viewer sales out there, although there may be a few. Don't get me wrong, I love viewer sales. You guys are incredibly kind, but for my credibility sometimes, uh-oh, this is gonna fall. And I have a day where I don't have a ton of viewer sales. It's like, hey, see, I can sell. This is some more stuff from Joyce Meyer. This one didn't sell for very much, but you know, like I said, it was free, $15 plus shipping. And I thought looking at it that maybe both of them sold, but they didn't. This one did not sell. So that one sold for $15 plus shipping, and this one is still available. Put that back. Turner's still in his pajamas. He didn't say pajamas. What do you say? Pajamas. And no dog in here today. He just left. And Wallen just came home from the vet, so he looks a little pathetic. We're going to have to give him a nap. But you got a dog joke for us. A little Commonwealth comedy. What do you got?
How do dog catchers get paid?
How do dog catchers get paid? I don't know how.
By the pound.
Bye.
Bye.
I sold some jeans, which I don't mind selling for $20 plus shipping because they're super easy, especially if they're already clean and don't have any issues. These are 527 33 30s. Paid $1. Sold for $20 plus shipping. Actually, I take it back. It sold for $24.95 plus shipping, and that one was to a repeat buyer. I probably should, since I said that stuff about no viewer sales. Jody, it's a repeat buyer. I don't know if you're a viewer or not, Joey, but thank you, Jody. Thank you. And I sold a watch that I picked up for next to nothing, if I can find it. It is a Coleman watch, which is not high-end at all by any stretch of the imagination, but it was new. Took me a minute to find that one. It was in Chris Old School Picker's drawer, and he's not putting out content anymore, buddy, but I hope you're listening and I hope you're doing well. Coleman watch, right there. $24.95 plus shipping. Speaking of Dibdit, people have asked about certain items that they see and they don't see listed on eBay, and it's usually because I hear Reagan coming in. Come on in, baby. I like to sell some things that I don't necessarily want to leave the shed over there on Dibdit, but check these out. These are 1986, I think, Hello Kitty erasers I picked up for 50 cents the other day. I'm going to put those over on Dibdit. And these ET wind-ups and the Pal Peralta sticker, and I think I'm going to put this lunchbox over there as well. And that's kind of what I'm going to do as soon as I turn the camera off. But Reagan is here, and let me get your list. All right, Reagan is here, and she's the first person in the family to own a pair of Hokas. I totally do not support this at all.
Why?
That's so expensive for a pair of shoes.
They were kids.
And they fit your mama, so you
and
guys...
And I got them a half size bigger, and I've been running in the same shoes for 3 years.
All right. That's fine. I need to know your size. I'll look for some out there. I can't pay for the full price, but I'm glad you like them. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Jody got a CWP sticker, and Leslie got a trash to cash bag.
Okay, trash to cash bags are continuing to sell, and a CWP sticker. We're getting a little low on these, actually.
Yeah, they've sold a lot of stickers.
Oh, the Q3 sticker is just around the corner, y'all, and we are going to do those wrestling stickers. We're only going to do 2 more total, so there'll be 2 series of 4. But that's coming out in a couple of weeks, so thank you, Reagan.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
Well, if I'm in Virginia just to go and run the trails, found myself missing you more times than I can count. Rolling on just like a stone, nobody could tell me where the boundaries in my life stop and I could be free. Nobody could tell me